Hi, my name's Henry Horner. I'm a dialysis patient. I'm a dialysis patient here at Seven Oaks Hospital, and I'm going on 8 years on dialysis. This interview is mainly to tell you a bit about how I handle things and what I do and the things I like. Maybe some of the things I don't like either, but I will tell you some of them. Well, first of all, I would like to definitely support everybody here at dialysis on where I go. Okay, I can't say enough of the people there, what they do for you, the doctors, everything. It's a wonderful place. I am certainly not sorry to be here. It's absolutely great.
I'm just going to stop you for 1 second. I'm just going to come a little bit closer just to make sure that I have this sound.
Okay.
Okay, keep going.
And now that I've been on as like I say, on dialysis, but even with the 8 years, okay, I'm starting to find it a little bit hard. Okay, well, it's you're 3 times a week, and you're on first, all the treatment that you have, but it's not that serious that you could hate it. It's a thing that if you have to have it. I know I have to have it. I know I have to go through it. And the best thing that I find is staying in shape. The best thing is, like I like to bike outside, I like to fix bicycles for the needy, for the young kids. I like to do that. I'm 71 years of age now. I'm going to be 72 soon. So, and I like to jog a little bit. I'm not a great jogger. If I go 2 kilometers, I'm doing good. And my biking, I like to bike about 15 miles, not kilometers. I like to do that, and then I feel really refreshed. And that. But getting back to dialysis, I've had in the 8 years, I've had some very troublesome times where I ended up in the hospital here, just through maybe a mix of medication that I might be taking. You have to be very, very careful. Watch your medication. Be careful that you read everything. And unfortunately, I didn't read everything as I should have. So it was mainly, I guess, my fault. The reason that was brought for me here is I was a high transport driver, and I had 47 years on the road. I had 1 year to retire, and we were going to go down south, my wife Ann and I. And as it is, it just happened that I was going to take her to Calgary on a trip and back, and it just happened we stopped for breakfast right before we started our trip. When the trailer was loaded, I was already waiting for her at the cafe, and the truck stopped, and she came down and she looked at me and she says, "You're so white." She says, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." And I said, "Why?" She says, "Are you feeling well?" And I says, "Not really." I said, "I'm not feeling as well as I'd like to." But she says, "Okay." So I says, so we walked outside to get into the truck, and I grabbed the handle on the truck to get in, and next thing I knew, I was right down on the ground. So half the people at the restaurant run out to check, and she yelled for help, and they were going to call the ambulance, and one guy says, I kind of sort of came to, and she says, "No, we're going to go to the hospital." So this one person, which I didn't know, I thanked enough, he drove me to Seven Oaks here. And I walked down the hallway, and next thing right down on the floor I went. The policeman picked me up, took me into emergency. The doctors attended to me, and then next thing I knew, I was in an ambulance. I was on my way to Health Science. They checked me out. The next thing I knew, they turned it around, did an ultrasound, brought me back to Seven Oaks here. Doctor came in, it was nice as could be, and he says, "I've never seen this kind of a thing before, because usually one kidney shuts down, or else we find out it's a kind of a slower process that this will happen. But in your case, 2 of your kidneys shut down immediately, right? Just within, that was it." And it took us a while before we could find out what had happened. And it was a medication that I was taking, but I don't want to mention the name at this time, but it was a med. And unfortunately, this is what they figured happened to me. So I was about 2 weeks upstairs, going through all kinds of tests and everything, and had things happen. Then next thing I knew, they turned around and the doctor came in and seen me and said, "You have to go on dialysis." And I didn't know what dialysis even meant. I didn't have a word of it. My wife came down, of course, visited. we didn't know what dialysis, so it was a kind of a hard thing to take, you know. And I guess my first thing I remember asking the doctor is, can I drive again? And he says, well, not at this particular point you can't. So after that, when he left, my wife was there, and I guess I broke down, and I said, you know, it's like I can't drive no more. I drove all these years. I did the 2-milers, safe driving. I said, I can't understand this. Do I have to give up my license? She said, well, we don't know yet. And I says, what do I do now? You know, does that mean I can't work? Does it mean that I'm going to, you know, live 6 months or whatever? And she said, hey, please take it easy until we can find out. We'll find out more. So it was about maybe I was a week upstairs, and then finally they took me downstairs to dialysis, and the nurse came over, the head nurse came over, a couple nurses came over, and I came down in a wheelchair because I lost so much weight. And as soon as I wheeled into the room, I felt the atmosphere completely changed. I just felt like something that, you know, something was really going to be a good sign, not a bad sign, just a good sign. So they put me in the bed, and they turned around, they told me what they were going to do, and the head nurse came back, and she spent a bit of time with me, and she brought me a big book, a binder, and it illustrated page by page exactly what was going to happen. So the biggest changes I had to do was to my food intake. Okay. Oh, I love bananas, but now I can't have bananas no more. Okay, and there might be other things I like to eat, but oh, hey, you can't have that no more. So you have to adapt to these things, and fine. Okay, so you adapt to them. And once you start adapting to these, and you start going into dialysis, which I go 3 times a week. I was on for 4 hours then. I'm on 3.5 now. But now I find out I got terrific doctors looking at me, coming over, or terrific nurses looking after me and coming over. So I find, hey, everything's at ease. And the best thing was, I guess, after about 3 months, I'm on dialysis, and I asked the doctor, he says, well, you know, what happens to me now? You know, I thought maybe 3 months back, am I going to die or something? He kind of chuckled and said, Hank, no. He said, don't work like that. He says, we're going to help you all we can. And well, what about my driver's license? He says, you keep your class 1, everything. And because now I drive a church bus with kids in it, and I said, well, what about work? He says, you can drive out of town if you want, and everything, as long as you're back for your dialysis. And I thought, wow, you know, I didn't really lose anything. Okay, I lost my kidneys, but I didn't lose my sense of humor. I figured, oh, this is good. Wow, I can drive, eh? So, and I thought, oh, besides in 1 year, I'm going to be retired. So, and plus retarded. So I figured, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I started to pick up hobbies, and that was good. The hobbies went around real good. I thank my wife for my meals, everything that's there. I mean, hey, I adapted to that now. After 8 years, I know what I can eat and what I can't. So now I have, I think I have a good life. I've made a point, and I'm going to turn around now and do something to help people with all organs and kidneys as well. So this is my dream to come true now. So, but like I say, I'm going to be 72 coming up, and my golly, I want to keep running, and I certainly want to keep biking and everything else. So I really can't add much more to that. Like I have repeated it. I'm not sorry for repeating it. I wouldn't be any other place than here in dialysis at Seven Oaks. It's #1 on the book. So I'd like to thank you for this interview, and hope that this may help you. And like anybody for going on to dialysis, your doctor will help you, your nurses will help you, everybody help you, even a friend that might know of a friend on dialysis will help you. Do not be afraid to ask questions. You don't ask questions, you're not going to get any answers. But stay fit, stay well, and don't eat bananas if you don't. Okay? Thank you.